ORX and the Deus here. I have a 9-inch high frequency coil, and I'm going to test it on a 5-inch nickel and a bunch of iron and a little bit of jewelry. There's some jewelry 1.5 inches deep at this blue bottle plastic bottle cap. There's a 5-inch deep nickel on that red plastic cap, and there is a silver dime right over here somewhere around a bunch of iron. And one of my viewers commented, he said, well, isn't the ORX doesn't that have a modulated tone too? Isn't it like the Deus? Can't you set it up like the Deus? No, you cannot set it up like the Deus. The Deus has the pitch tones. There's a pitch program, and also each program you can have pitch tones. And the ORX is a 3-tone machine, and you can't make it sound like the Deus in pitch mode because you cannot discriminate. And I'll show you here. I'll start out with the ORX first, and I'll put it in Goldfield mode because he was saying that Goldfield mode is a modulated tone. Yes, it is a modulated tone, but it's not going to give you a high tone on those deeper coins there, right? And the ORX, you cannot tell how deep the target is, and I'll show you that here in a second. And you can't discriminate, you know. In Goldfield there's no discrimination, so it kind of, you know, defeats the whole purpose. And to run in Goldfield mode in relic dumps or in a lot of trash, you have to reject your iron all the way up to 5, because if you don't, all that's iron, right? This is the war zone back here. This is the war zone. There's a nickel right there, 5 inches deep, right? But if I don't reject that iron, I'm going to be digging up all those nails, every single nail in this yard in Goldfield. So I have to go to, I'm at 31 kilohertz, and I'll do the Deus at 31 kilohertz also. My reactivity is at 2, disc IAR all the way up to 5, right here, right? It'll hit it. And I will ground balance because I'm in Goldfield mode, and I'll just ground balance it at 82. That's, you can see the mineralization. Oh, the mineralization bar went away. That's one thing I dislike about the ORX. This big screen comes up. I mean, sure, the numbers are bigger, but when that screen comes up, you can't see what you're doing there, you know. Mineralization bar all the way up to the top. 79 ground measure. So I'll just set that 79 right there. There's that nickel at 5 inches deep. Sure, it's hitting it, but I don't want to be hearing that all day long. That iron grunt, the iron volume is just way too loud. You cannot adjust the iron volume on this thing, and it's being rejected too. So it's the best you're going to get in Goldfield, right? I mean, right there. 5-inch nickel, 5-inch deep nickel, and a bunch of iron. I can turn that iron volume off, but I'll show you. The iron volume is off right here. See that? It's being discriminated out. It's being rejected. First, I have the iron rejection on, so there's a little bit of discrimination there. It's actually rejecting the iron. And now I'll turn the iron. I just turned the iron volume off. Now it's getting all unstable, right? And that's one thing about the iron, or about the Goldfield program. You can't discriminate, you know, in pitch mode, or if you have pitch tones on the Deus, you can discriminate in those other programs, right? And what I'll do is I'll just go over to a different program here. Coin fast right here. It's hitting it, but it's 3-tone, right? I haven't set it up. I haven't ground balanced or anything like that, but I'll just ground balance it right here. try to get a ground measure here. I don't think it's going to ground measure. 80, 80. See, but this is not a modulated tone. It's not a VCO tone, right? And I'll just turn this, and actually I'll go over to this silver dime over here. It'll smack this silver dime out. All this iron here, all that iron. It's a 3-tone, so it's a silver dime at 3 inches. And I'll show you, I'll go back to field mode, or I'll go back to iron. I'll go back to gold 1, and listen to that tone right there. It's a low tone. It's not giving me a very high squeak. And it's not hitting it very good. That's a 5-inch nickel. This is a 3-inch dime. See, I have so much stuff rejected, it's just not doing very well on that target there. Here's some foil right on the surface. You know, I can't tell how deep these targets are. I'll go to 3-tone, I'll go back to coin mode. Coin fast. That's a 5-inch dime, or a 5-inch nickel. That's a 3-inch dime, so it's hard to tell how deep your targets are. And the Goldfield program is not a very deep program. And if you want to get deeper targets, the Goldfield is not the program to be in. And I'll show you the Deus here. There's just no comparison to the tones on the Deus, I'm telling you. You can't make the ORX sound like the Deus. If you're trying to do that, it's just not going to happen. Here's deep mode, deep program, and I'll just make a couple adjustments. I'll go down to, I'll put in 31 kilohertz. Iron volume, I'll go down to 1, right? Because there's no iron volume control on the ORX. There is on the Deus. And there's an audio response too. I'll just leave that at 4. And I'll go down to discrimination and put it in pitch. I'll put in 3 tones for now. And I haven't ground balanced yet either. You know, with the ORX, I was working the buttons a little bit, trying to get it to hit that. But the Deus is just hitting it right off the bat. And I'll go over the dime here. You know, the 3 tones, it's gonna give you pretty much the same tones it's gonna give you the same, however deep it is, with the ORX. With the Deus, I can adjust how deep that target sounds by the audio response. Now I'll go to pitch here. I'll raise my pitch up a little bit. I like it around the 400s or so. And I haven't ground balanced yet, right? It sounds about 4 inches actually, just from my experience. This one sounds really shallow, right? The Deus is hitting it big time in pitch mode. So there's just no way to do it in Goldfield mode. You know, I've tried the Goldfield mode in some trashy spots, and I've tried it in relic zones. In the Goldfield mode, you have to discriminate. You have to reject the iron all the way up to 5, or else you'll just be digging up nails all day long. And you can't get the ORX to sound like the Deus. You know, the ORX is an entry mid-level machine. And the Deus, you can have all those adjustments. In every program, you can set that pitch up to your preferences. You can set that frequency up to whatever you want to hear. And there's a lot more tones. You have 2, 3, 4, 5 full tone, which is all the tones. And then there's the pitch tone. The pitch tone is like a proximity sensor. It's going to tell you how big that is, and it's going to tell you how deep it is. And you can also discriminate when you are in pitch tones. You know, unlike the ORX, when you're in Goldfield, even in Goldfield in the Deus too, there's no discrimination. And you can't set up your tones. It's just basically a modulated tone, and you get what you get. And you can't discriminate on any of your targets. So if you're like in a cleaner area, and you want to use the ORX in Goldfield mode, you know, you might be able to hit some coins there, but you know, I would rather have that. If I'm in a clean area with the ORX, I would rather just have it in coin deep, right? Because it's going to do much better. But in the iron, you just can't replicate the tones on the Deus, on the ORX. You just can't do it. Even the Deus, if I compare the Deus up to the ORX, pretty much the same thing. You know, the Deus, I can control the audio response so I can know how deep it is. But why control that? Because it's a modulated tone in the first place. You know, I don't want to mess it up too much. You know, the Goldfield, once you set a program up, or once you go to just a preset program, I like the preset programs because that's the way the metal detector is designed to be, and just go from there, just adjust it just a little bit, each setting just a little bit. I don't go too far off the norm, off the settings there. But I'm usually hunting in coin deep and Deus fast, and Deus deep in both these machines here, and they perform very well. Just pretty much the stock program, but I keep the Deus in pitch tones, just because I want to get in that sweet spot. Like I've said, I want to really know how to use the pitch tones, and I can discriminate. You know, with the Deus, you can discriminate, and it's not going to really hurt your tones too bad. I don't really get an unstable machine when I discriminate. On other machines, you can get it all out of balance. You know, it doesn't really sound that great if you like go in the 50s or 60s. You know, if you try to discriminate foil out, you know, it's really tough to discriminate foil out on the Deus. I've realized that. I've been digging up a lot more foil. That sounds really awesome. You know, the foil sounds really good on the Deus, but it's just too close to those gold rings. You know, I don't want to discriminate too high there. You know, like the 30s or 40s, that's pretty much what I'm been discriminating at, and I've been doing fairly good. But with the ORX, you know, you can't replicate the Deus. You can't make the ORX perform like the Deus in pitch mode, no matter what you do. It's just not designed for that. The ORX is more like a gold machine. You know, it's a good coin shooter too. You know, whatever coil you have on there, you're going to get some coins. But the Deus just performs a lot better because you can adjust your tones. The tone's is the big thing, because I don't have the Deus usually on the shaft. I don't usually have the ORX on the shaft there, and because I have it tucked away because it rains so much here. This is kind of like a fluke thing today, you know, and getting towards the end of the winter. But I will be testing the Deus out and the ORX in some drier soil here once it starts drying out. You know, I got some flowers popping up in my backyard here. You know, after the ice storm, it didn't really hurt them too bad. Some hyacinths there. Yep. Well, there we go. There's the test of the ORX and the Deus. Goldfield 1 and ORX and pitch tones Deus. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.